All right, mathematicians, I got one more lesson for you guys, and today is all about percentages. You guys have seen them everywhere. You guys see them in grocery stores, you see them at the mall, you see them in commercials, right? Uh, save 20% on this new shirt. Save 50% on this bag of oranges. I know that's a little crazy, but you get what I'm trying to say. I want to show you guys how percentages are related to fractions and decimals. Okay, so in this lesson, or by the end of this lesson, you're going to be able to take a fraction, convert it into a decimal, and then convert it into a percentage. Or you're going to take a percentage and then make it a decimal and then make it a fraction, or you can make a decimal into a You get what I'm trying to say. We can transform these ratios into fractions, decimals, and percentages. Okay, so a percent is a fraction where the denominator is 100. That's always the denominator in a percentage. Okay, and the reason why we call it, or the reason why the denominator is 100 is because if we break down this word, cent actually means 100, and then per means out of. I think that's Latin. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. But yes, so that is why the denominator of a percentage is 100. So some examples include 68 hundredths, or 68 over 100, and we write that as 68%. Okay, if I were to write 68 hundredths as a decimal, I would get something that looks like this. Okay, see how I can easily write a fraction to a percentage to a decimal? It's actually a pretty nice system we have going here. So 41 hundredths, the same thing. 41 out of 100. Remember, if your denominator is 100, you can always write the percentage really quick, right? So 41 over 100 means that's 41%, or 41 out of 100. I can also change that into a decimal. 41 hundredths is written like this, 0.41. Okay, now fractions with denominators of 100 are helpful because...
Here's your reminder. Clean the litter box.
Thanks, Alexa. Reminding me to clean my cat's litter box. Okay, fractions with denominators of...
Reminder. Clean the litter box.
I forgot she says it twice. Sorry, guys. Okay, fractions with denominators of 100 are helpful because we can easily convert it to a decimal, right? The denominator of 100 means it's in the hundredths place. And another reason why is because we can easily convert the fraction to a percentage. And that's the goal today. Changing fractions into decimals into percentages and vice versa. Okay, so we're going to write each of the following ratios as a fraction, as a decimal, and a percent. So I'm going to label these 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to split my workspace here into fourths. So boop, and boop. So here's number 1, there's number 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so question number 1, 14 days out of 100 days. We need to write it as a fraction. So there we go, 14 out of 100. Now, I think it would be in our best interest to simplify, because we like to simplify fractions, right? So let's divide by 2, because both of those are even. So I get 7 over 50. Awesome. For the sake of converting this fraction into a decimal, I'm going to keep it as 14 hundredths. Okay? So changing 14 hundredths into a decimal, well, that's one of those, you can read it, right? 14 hundredths. Remember that the 4 needs to be in the hundredths place. So 0.14. And there we go. So there's my decimal. And then lastly, remember that 14 hundredths is written as 14%. There we go. Easy peasy so far. Let's take a look at number 2. Ooh, this one's good because this is what you guys see on your quizzes and tests. 22 correct out of 25 problems. So I'm going to abbreviate here, 22 out of 25. Okay. So, writing that as a fraction, 22 over 25. Now remember, I want to change this into a decimal, and I want to change that decimal into a percentage. And remember that percentages always have a denominator of 100. So I need to change this 25 into 100. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply this by 4, and then multiply the numerator by 4. So 25 times 4 gives me that 100, and then 22 times 4 gives me 88. So I have my fraction, 88 over 100, or 88 hundredths. Okay, so I'm going to change this into a decimal, written as 0.88, read as 88 hundredths. And this is the same as an 88%, which is a B, a high B, which is pretty good. So let me go ahead and fill in this table here. 88 hundredths and then 88%. You guys will notice that when you're given a decimal, the percentage is always those two numbers behind the decimal. All right, let's keep going. Number 3, 1 out of 4 games. 1 out of 4. Okay, so writing this as a fraction. 1 out of 4. Now, you can do this the way we did number 2, where we change the denominator to 100, or you can think about, well, 1/4 is a pretty common fraction, and there is a decimal that's pretty common that we associate with 1/4. Well, how much is a quarter worth? You would say 25 cents, which looks like this. How would I read that? How do I read this 0.25? Hopefully you're saying 25 hundredths. So this is the same as 25 over 100. So what percentage can we say this is? Well, 25%. There we go. So I'm going to write my fraction. I'm going to stick with my denominator of 100s here. And then we said that the decimal is 25 hundredths, 0.25, and then the percentage is 25%. All right, number 4, last one, 5 out of 6. So immediately you guys might be thinking, well, how can I change 6 into 100? Well, does 6 even go into 100 evenly? You'll notice it doesn't. Okay, so here's what we're going to do instead. We're going to convert 5/6 into a decimal. Okay, so remember the cowboy goes inside the house and the horse goes on the outside. Now, let's go ahead and add our decimal in and bring it up top. All right. 6 goes into 5 0 times, so 0 times 6 is 0. I subtract, that's 5, and then I bring down the 0. 6 goes into 50 8 times. 8 times 6 is 48. I need to borrow here, so that becomes a 4. That 0 becomes a 10. 10 minus 8 is 2. 4 minus 4 is 0. I add another 0. I bring it all the way down. 6 goes into 23 times. Hey, didn't we do this before? Yes, we did, and we said that this was 0.83, and the 3 repeats over and over and over and over and over, right? So I'm going to rewrite my answers here. So 5/6 is the same as 0.83 repeating. Now remember what I said about percentages. Remember, percentages are always these two numbers right behind the decimal. So I know this isn't super exact. It's not the exact answer, so I'm going to use a little squiggly equal sign, and I'm going to say, and this means about, or if you want to be really fancy, approximately. Okay, approximately 83%. And there we have it. Okay. So there you go. Turning fractions into decimals, into percentages, or back and forth, right? We can do all of it. All right, you guys. I will see you in the next